Hi, I'm Kevin Karnan, and we are here. I'm here to talk about um, a write-up that I did on board container ship certification. In the introduction, I mentioned about the role of IMO, the role of specialized agencies of the United Nations that cater to the shipping community, in particular the IMO, ILO, and World Health Organization. And this write-up talks about that as well as the certificates that are to be carried as per IMO's MSC MEPC circular that I talked about in the last session. Um, by the way, the last session I kept repeating IMO as a convention. It is not a convention. It is a specialized agency of United Nations, like any other UNCTAD, UNESCO, and others. And the conventions that come under IMO and ILO and WHO are the ones that we are going to talk about. And my paper, my write-up, details one by one all the conventions and as many conventions that we are aware of for enforcement on board merchant ships. The first topic the first topic is the SOLAS Convention. I just gave you a brief introduction on that in my introductory um, recording. Now, this one I would straight away go into the certificates that are required to be carried. By the way, my apologies for mentioning IMO as a convention. I ran through the recording and I saw I was not correct on that. Okay, so we straight go into the certificates that are required as promulgated by the MEPC circular, MSC MEPC circular that I talked about last time. And what I would do is I would do as per my write-up as I go into one by one the conventions. Okay, so the first one is the SOLAS convention, and you have this the circular itself, and it starts with the tonnage and other things in whatever the order they have mentioned. That is okay, but wherever the SOLAS convention is there, I will pick it up and I will go through in this order in this specific order, so that this recording as well as the ones which are going to come, I don't know. I don't think I can cover them all in one session. You can at least I will title it, and then you can probably, if you want to go back, you can refer to it. Yeah. So this is an MEPC MSc circular. This is well, they are all made available to us in many platforms, but there are too many of them to keep track of these things that you look for. But this is being such an important document. It also forms part of your SOLAS Annex 1 is this circular, and also it forms a part of MARPOL. MARPOL is under the section additional information too. So that is where the circular is located. Yeah. And one other thing, SOLAS and MARPOL editions that we have on board. Yeah, so we company sends addendums and all those things. We keep adding to it, and sometimes this circular is also updated because a lot of things happening in the shipping world, as you know. So there may be additional certificates, additional documents that are required to get carried on board. So then once they are substantial, probably IMO will come out with another MEPC MSc circular regarding the certificates, list of certificates and documents that are required to be carried on board. This one is dated 27th June 2022. Probably another one has come out. I'm not aware of it because I'm not in touch. So the thing what I want to say is, like, when something new has come, we need to be aware of it, and you need to probably print out a copy and put it in SOLAS as well as in MARPOL. Or at least if you're keeping it as an electronic format, just put a note, delete the under remarks, that there is always a remark that refers to the certificate, MEPC circular number, dated so and so and all. as per this. So you just delete it and put the latest edition number and the date below, so that there is continuity. Okay. So let us go straight into the circular itself. As I said, um, um, the first one is an exemption certificate, they call, as per this circular. Exemption certificate, what they have mentioned is as is granted to a ship under and in accordance with the regulations. If there is any something majorly different than what is required in this, probably they give you an exemption certificate. So you need to have an exemption certificate if you have one, if that is the case. Um, so please bear with me. I'm going one by one so that there's a way that you can track during the recordings, this one and the ones to come. So the next one is the quoting technical file. Quoting technical file is a document that is carried, that is given I've been on a number of new delivered vessels. We've taken delivery of some mostly container ships from yards, mostly from South Korea. And this is one of the document that they deliver part of the plans and the drawings when they give it on board. So this quoting technical file talks about the specification of the coating, mostly for the ballast tanks. Yeah. So this is kept on board as an electronic format or hard copy. Hard copy, it would be a good big volume, because the file contains right from the day one when each member in a ballast tank is coated, and when it was coated, what was the conditions and what paint, what specifications, everything. So it could be a big volume also. That's where we go back to in case it is required, the type of coating that is given. In a ship's lifetime, the owners may change the paint vendor, and ship undergoes many dry dockings, many repairs, and whenever there is a repair happening into ballast tanks, which necessitates renewal of these coatings. After having done so, you should update this coating technical file, say in the form of print out a copy, print out the date it is done, how it is done. Probably the shipyard will give you a final work done list, and it will be there part of that. So that is coating technical file. So the next one in our list is emergency towing procedure. Emergency towing procedure is a booklet. Yeah, so it is issued to the ship, maybe 2 or 3. So mandatory placements are one on the bridge and one probably forward of collision bulkhead. Yeah, so make sure it is kept in a good box, weatherproof, good, nice box, stenciled outside in the forward compartment as well as on the bridge. And yeah, so probably it is good to have the towing wire specifications also, the wire certificate or the rope certificate inserted in it. And normally you have a towing rope of a bigger dimension in the forecastle stow, or a towing wire rope. So make sure that it is properly tagged, and it is mentioned that's only for towing purposes, and neatly stored, nothing over stored on top and other things. So as we usually do on board, we do all these due diligence and checkups when we are there, right? Yes. So the next one they talk about is construction drawings. Construction drawings and construction drawings when the ship is delivered, they give if there is a class of ships coming out on a specific tonnage and type, so that could be a class of ships, say 4250 class, or 8600 class, or 14K class of vessels. The first vessel always gets maybe 1 or 2 sets, maybe 3 sets sometimes, one to be handed over to your head office. So make sure these are kept in a safe, well-ventilated, nice place, and somebody's in charge of taking care of that. And I'm sure, as is done on board always, whenever somebody wants to refer to some drawing, it is done so after having put it in a kind of a small notebook, or even they're all big boxes that are flip up opening boxes, so you can even put a note there, taken transferred to this location and signed by who, taken by who, things like that. Normally it is done. Yeah. So these boxes also contain a lot of other manuals. Yeah. So the manuals are the ones which are taken immediately. Yeah. We need manuals. We need to refer them because even though we are put into operational training of these equipments when we go for delivery, they are taken and then this one. So be careful with taking the manuals. When I mentioned, you always put a remark. And also some of the manuals, like for example, Knox technical files. Yeah. So Knox technical files, it is with the chief engineer or in the engine control room. It is distributed. Yeah, and these have to be updated also as required by the regulation, that whenever they do any major replacement of parts in the machinery of main engine or auxiliary engine, they need to record it. They need to record the date received, space received, IMO number, blah blah blah. So these are also distributed. So one of the things I faced was always, I mean, when one such situation that the files were required by, I think, I don't know, maybe the class surveyor or the port state control. So there were some files, I pulled it out and then I saw, hey, nothing is, and the files were new and then nothing was mentioned inside. And then, of course, it was been running for some years. Then I went, I'm sure, there would have been some replacements during the intervening period. So I could get it from the chief engineer. Chief engineer keeps it updated. His file is updated. Mine is not updated. So we don't end up showing something which is not updated to anybody. So it has to be updated. If it's updated in chief engineer cabin, it has to be updated if the set of files are there in master's cabin or wherever it is stored. So that's one thing. Construction drawings are kept. So it has got all the drawings. It has got fire control plans. It's got all general arrangement plan which are to be posted. Some are posted. These are beyond posted. This whole set is there inside. This is where we go to for everything. Yeah. Okay. Then they talk about ship construction file. Ship construction file is very specific to specific information should be kept on board oil tankers of some length and above, and bulk carriers and above. And what talks about it constructed with single deck or topside tanks and hopper side tanks and cargo spaces. So the construction file containing information in accordance with the regulations and guidelines and updated as appropriate throughout the ship's life in order to facilitate safe operation, maintenance, survey, repair, and emergency measures. So that's what I want to point out, that these have to be updated whenever any maintenance is done regarding structural changes or anything like that. Of course, it will all be done with approval of proper authorities like flag state and class, and then this has to be inserted in a relevant place. The obsolete one or the deleted ones have to be taken back. This is for ship construction file. Ship construction drawings, yes, that also have to be updated. Sometimes, container ships, I've been on vessel taken to do a scrubber fitting. So that involves a lot of additional drawings and of machineries as well as structural ones also in the engine room block, and as well as the penetration on the main deck and blah blah blah, and the discharge and other things of the water. So the plans have to be updated, and make sure the plans are updated, and the ones which are not to be there taken out and deleted and put aside or destroyed. Okay, so those are construction drawings and ship construction file. Noise survey report. Noise survey report or the vibration and created on board when the ship is on running under any condition, and the noise levels are measured. This again for the it comes under SOLAS, means it's safety of life at sea. So it's for our years for the safety of people who are working on board. Yeah. So what we are seeing during the sea trial, the technical people are there. They mount all the sensors at their critical specified places, and they measure the noise conditions when the ship is running. Okay, so this report is there. This report could be can be located as just a part of a report or document in your file which they hand over, or they'll always be there in the sea trial report. So that's just for information, and this is required to be kept on board. And also, you know what they say, this noise survey report shall always be carried on board and be accessible for the crew. Okay, so please make people aware of this report which is there on board. Okay, then we come to stability information, loading information, damage control plan, and booklets. Yeah, so we are coming to one very important, in fact, the first of the booklets that we talked about, or the booklets that are about to come, or the certificates that are about to come. The first of it, which has to be approved by the flag state, or in turn, the classification society. Okay, it has to be approved. And the ship, and this is very specific, it has to be approved by that. Well, before going into that, I would diverge a little bit to how this stability information, and who has the authority, what they must do. No, again, I have done in the write-up. Okay, generally, survey of ships. What they say. Survey of ships as regards the enforcement of the provisions of this annex, this convention or whatever, shall be carried out by the officers of the administration, who the flag state. Do they have the expertise? Do they have the resources? Do they have people all over the world? No. So the administration may, however, entrust the surveys either to the surveyor nominated for the purpose. They can nominate a surveyor for the purpose, need not be a class society, or to an organization recognized by it. Recognized organization who? The classification society I talked about for the most part. Such organization, I also talked about this in the last one, such organization including classification society shall be authorized by the administration in accordance with the provisions of the code for recognized organization. That is also a RO code. It is an MAPC 237 within bracket 65 of IMO. So they have got a code. It's not that anybody can do. So classification society comes under IAX and other things. But come to stability, structural stability, and both intact and damaged stability, as well as the structurally building the ship, is left to not to a recognized organization. SOLAS talks about this very clearly. What does it say? So more for the inspection and survey of ships, yes, by the staff from the administration, or as recognized somebody, surveyor as recognized by the administration, or organization as recognized by the administration. But one other very important aspect of the business of the SOLAS is, like it mentions very clearly, that I quote and unquote, quote, structural, mechanical, and electrical requirement of a ship are to be designed, constructed, and maintained by the classification society, which is recognized by the administration. As I talked before, classification society have got enormous amount of data. They have so much they have collected over a period of so many years. For example, I was on board a container ship. This was in the early stages. I think it was in 2002, 2003. I'm not sure. When we took delivery of a vessel, they had fitted the class. It was under LR. They fitted sensors on the underdeck passage. It's a long sensor. They fitted sensor at strategic places on the underdeck passage. That was an 8,600 box vessel, I think, as well as a weather radar. Weather radar meaning monitoring the wave formation, wave condition radar, wave radar. Yeah. So, and all connected to a computer, and data used to come. And the vessel used to be on a regular Asia-Europe run. So whenever we used to go to Felixstowe or Southampton, I don't remember. So surveyors used to come and those days are video cassettes, right? So of course CDs were also there, I suppose, but video cassettes. So we used to record it, and then those people, they take it for analysis of the behavior of the ship during its voyage in the intervening period of say 2 months or something like that, when encountering various weather conditions and sea conditions. So they collected, likewise, in many different ways. I'm sure all class and everybody, they collect a lot of information. They arrived at a, um, they have the data to, as I told you, you just have to have a lot of money and tell them I want a ship of 300 or 400 meters, and you are ready, good to go. Yeah. So, how it evolved, for people who have been on continuation, they will know. So, when you walk through now a big vessel, yeah, like 14K vessel or so you would see the hatchcombing beam coming, like, same, thickness as um, the shear strake, which is the first strake on the ship's hull. Yeah, it's so thick. It's about maybe 15 or 18 centimeter. Yeah, so it's so thick. It's running all along, except for the accommodation. It's tapered down, and then the engine room is behind. Is also tapered down. So that's how strong it is. So again, to repeat, SOLAS says structural, mechanical, electrical requirement of a ship or design. Structural, mechanical, electrical requirement of a ship is designed, constructed, and maintained throughout its life by a classification society as which is recognized by the administration, that is the flag state of your thing. So the SOLAS, it's not that SOLAS alone which says this. I've done it in a write-up. After the SOLAS convention certificates, we will move on to load line certificate. Just I've got a preamble in the load line also, that how it is so interlinked. SOLAS and NORPOL and this load line convention, all these conventions are so interlinked with each other. SOLAS talks about structure of the ships, yeah, where we saw the absolute requirement of a class society for the structural strength of a vessel and its maintenance. So is the case with the load line. What does the load line say? Ships built and maintained in conformity with the requirements of a recognized classification society may be considered to possess adequate strength. Okay, both um, intact, and which will meet both the intact and damage stability requirements. So ships have to be surveyed, inspected, and made sure, surveyed by a classification society that it meets the adequate strength. Once it is adequate strength is established, when during the sea trial, it goes for they do an inclining experiment, a light ship measurement, and all those things. And the stability information, loading information, they are provided on board in a hard copy version that has to be on board as approved by the classification society. Please take care of it. There are one or two, they are big books, and over a period of time, yeah, it's but natural that the first page fades and goes away, the second page is one, so these have to be carefully kept, and this is for our reference. Not alone for that, these are for everybody's inspection, by the class state, by the port state, and everybody else. So these are important ones, and to be taken care of. Yeah. So uh, stability, what does it say in this paragraph? With stability information to the satisfaction as is necessary to enable the master by rapid and simple procedures to obtain accurate guidance as to the stability of the ship under varying conditions of service, to maintain the required intact stability and stability after damage. So stability booklet, damage damage control calculations, damage stability booklet, yeah, and then damage control plan. They all should have this information and then maintained and understood by ship staff on board. That's so very important. One of the other again, as it gave me the opportunity to write about certificates, I got an opportunity to write about this particular aspect of structural strength of ship. It is titled construction, subdivision, stability, interpretation, and understanding. Construction, subdivision, and stability, interpretations and understanding. But stability, both intact and damage stability. So that runs into pages, and that's a different one altogether. So only why we need to be aware of this, only when we appreciate and understand, in these documents, where we have the damage control booklet, damage control plan has got exhibitors showing clearly each deck and hold the boundaries of the watertight compartments, openings therein, and the means of closure, opening and means thereof, and the arrangement and for the correction of any list and all those things. So openings, ventilators, and other things, you name it. Yeah, they're all structural. They all come under ship construction. So we need to take care of our ship. So we need to maintain the ship as required by SOLAS, as required by the SMS of the company that is servant. So that we remain seaworthy at all times. Okay, so that's so very important, and it's all not us. It's we have people established ashore, the technical department, the marine department. They help us to achieve this maintenance on board, and it's a team effort that carried on until the ship's lifetime, productive lifetime. So when I get an opportunity, I will do that other one. That's a different topic altogether. So you have stability information and loading information. There are booklets. There are class-approved booklets and damage control plan, damage stability calculations, and damage control booklet. What to do immediately when damage occurs. So the damage control booklet is a very, very informative one, and that should be made available to the officers of the ship. So all the officers of the ship should be aware of this, including the stability information and other things. So take your time. I'm talking about all these things. I've done some of these. Most of this rundown of certificates and other things on board. It was much easier. Why? Because on board we have the resources. We have everything live on board, so you could bring them all out. So please feel free to approach your chief officer master or chief officer master, so to access these documents, and just see what is in it and then what is there. Try to understand. If you have doubts, you can clarify with your senior staff, so they'll always be willing to help you out with all these things. So and SOLAS makes it very clear that is made available to the officers of the ship, so we have to be aware of all these things that are on board. Okay, the next one is the maneuvering booklet. Yeah. So the maneuvering booklet, as you all know, it contains a lot of information about ship's headings, stopping distances, distances recorded in the sea trials under various conditions, various parameters of the main engine running. So yeah, sea trial, if you have been there, they do all these things live. So sea trial is one continuous affair going around the clock. There are announcements on the PA system round the clock to wake you up, and everybody is designated what to do, where to be there. Of course, we don't physically touch anything or do anything. They're all there. A lot of about 50, 100 people are on board from the shipyard and the class and the manufacturer. So that is the best time. The sea trial people are lucky to be on board, so that's the best time. All the manufacturers are on board. All the doubts can be cleared. You can understand what is happening on board. So maneuvering booklet contains all the data. Make sure it is up to date. When, for example, and like again, I said, when you go, when I don't think we did see anything with the maneuvering booklet when we did a scrubber installation, because there was no cutting of the hull or anything. Probably when some container ships, they go for what they call jumboising, cut and put a couple of bays in between and all. So probably that is where additional sea trial is required, and then maneuvering booklet is changed. So make sure this is current and valid. What I mean to say, it should be current and valid wherever it is there with you, or the data posted on the ship's places, like on the bridge you have maneuvering data on the, yeah, so make sure it is there. So all the maneuvering data is inside this maneuvering booklet. Yeah. Then we come to another one called evaluation of the alternate design and arrangement. So evaluation of the alternate, by the title it suggests alternate and design arrangements which are there, which has to be evaluated if it is not as per the requirements as per SOLAS, what the alternate arrangement design is given, and then that has to be approved also. Then I will come to maintenance plans. Maintenance plans. So the next topic of the discussion or maintenance plan as to firefighting